Good morning, everyone. Hello and welcome to the channel again. I'm back. I wanted to show you guys those lights that Gary put up around the bar. I mean, not the bar, the, what do you call that thing? Fireplace. They died last night, right? The old ones died. So, funny story. I let him sit there, and he was like, how long are these lights going to sit here dead? And like, I don't know until you do something about it. And he laughed, but he knew he was going to fix it. So he put up some more lights, and he said, well, I don't know what light bulbs to put up. And I said, get the 100 pack, because 100 would be just a little bit more than enough for the fireplace. So he gets and he finds the 100 pack, and it's perfect. And he lights it up, and they're white lights, so they don't match any of the other lights in the house. I can't have this up. This doesn't match. And I'm like, well, what's the big deal? I'm eating my taco salad. I'm like, what's the big deal? He's like, it doesn't match. It looks funky. And I'm like, okay. So he goes back. I said, don't make a mess going through those light boxes. And so he goes and he pulls out these huge, like 200 and some lights. And it's the bulbs that I bought that go around here, and they're green. And I see one light is already out. Another light's out. We got 2 lights out, but they last for like almost a year. We got like 3 lights out, but they last so long. And I leave them on 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, unless we go out of town. Okay, so it's like I'm not going to get bending down and standing up to put it in, because, I get nauseous, and my back and my knees, and it literally is too much. So I leave them on all the time. And it helps with, it's a therapy thing. But, just to have them in your house. But anyhow, so he goes and he gets the ones. And I'm like, no, that's not the ones. I said, you have to get, no, because the other ones are going to look just like that. I said, no, they're not, because I know what I bought. I just don't remember what I bought. I know what I bought, but I just can't remember what's in there and how I had it set up. So I was like, well, I know what I bought, but I just don't know what I bought. And so he gave me this crazy look, right? And so then he goes and he just grabs any old box. Well, I'm putting these up. And I said, before you put them up, why don't you check? Plug them in somewhere and look and make sure that they are the same. And they weren't. He said, they are. They're the same. I said, Gary, they are not the same. I said, you are about as blind as a dumb bat. And so we were going back and forth. They don't match. They do match. So I said, I tell you what, plug them in. All right. And then lay them across the chair, and then stand back and look at these lights, and then look at those lights, and tell me if they match. Oh. And it was a fiasco. I had to put all of them back in the box and repackage everything, put it in a certain order, so that way I know this is for this and this is for that. I'm too organized. I'm just too organized for him. And it's like, don't mess in my things, because everything is in a certain place, and I have a certain place for everything. So he found those, and I like those better because they're like up, down, up, down, up, down. I didn't even know I had that. But it was just so hilarious. It was literally Fred and Lamont. It was literally a Seinfeld show. It was just all of this craziness just to put up lights. And you know what, y'all? That's why I didn't really want him to put it up, because I knew it was going to be a whole bunch of confusion. I knew it was going to be chaos. That is how it is in this house when Gary is involved. I just do something and it's done. And you know it, but with him, it's animation. Why this don't work? Oh my Lord. And and well, where is this at? This ain't working. This don't work. It just is. And it's crazy. I had bought him, I told y'all in the other video, the little coil thing, incense burner, right? I just bought him one that I had like mine. I've had mine for years, okay? He just started getting back into incense. Instead of getting the sticks that make mess, or you have to buy the holder that encases it so that it doesn't make a mess, I just said, I'll just get you what I got. And something told me, don't just put it in his bathroom and just leave it there for him to assemble. You're going to have to tell him some stuff. So I did. And he said, I already know. I know how to do that. I know how to do that. I ain't stupid. And sure enough, he went in there and didn't know that he had to put the little put the little cone on a tray and the cone thing. And I told him, I said, I'm going to have to give you the other type of coil clip because the one that comes with it is weak and flimsy. And he forgot. And he said, well, the coil won't stay up on the thing. It keeps falling over. And I said, Gary, I told you that was going to happen. Remember? So I have to go in there and I set up everything. And then it's so funny because he's like, why? The lighter doesn't work. Now, the lighter that we use, all the lighters that we use are the bendable ones. So that way they're compact. You just unfold them and then they're long. And then when you're done, you fold them back up and they're compact. And he was like, I said, Gary, you have to put butane in it. That's why I bought butane. I did, but I couldn't, it wouldn't go in. It wouldn't work. So I had to go in there and show him how to do it. You got to cram it in there. You got to stick it in that hole and hold it in there tight and real tight where it's uncomfortable. And then it'll work. And then that was what it worked. And it's just so funny. It's like, it's so chaotic, but it's funny. And we laugh and we fuss and we bicker and we laugh because it's so ridiculous. And I just had to tell you this. All this going on last night. Hours that I can't get back. Energy that I can't get back. But that's how it is when you're best friends and when you've been married for a long time. It's just so friggin' hilarious. Okay, so now I am back. And Julie this is breakfast in one of my favorite frying pans. And we're just not going to scramble them today. But I do, for keto purposes, I used to do 6 eggs, but I do 3 eggs. And if I want more, then I'll just add in egg whites. But today, I want a little extra protein, so I'm putting in all the eggs, all 3 of them, whole. And I know this causes inflammation, and when it's gone, I'm not going to get any more. I'm going to go back to my non-dairy cheese. It's just that I didn't have any that was shredded, and I just didn't feel like taking scissors and chopping it up. And now we're going to throw in some turkey sausage, turkey kielbasa, and just letting it cook together. Sorry if this is too loud, but that's what we're going to do. That's what we're doing today. And as far as the keto thing goes, Julie, I hadn't heard from you in a while, and I didn't even know you were still with me. So we're going to talk about keto while I do this. Julie, I'm going to be honest with you. It's been hard because I have dealt with my weight ever since I was 15. And when I was 15, I wasn't overweight. I just noticed that I had a little bit of a tummy, but the rest of me was like fine. I was 120 pounds, but I wanted to be 110. And so anything that I did, I could lose weight easy. And then I got addicted to cardio. They used to call me cardio queen. I mean, I would work 2 jobs. I would work 1 job and go to school, go to the gym. And it was a way to get out of the house and to learn to be independent, establish credit for myself, get a car, and, and just work. And it was great. And I would go around wearing waist snippers all day. And then I would take that waist snipper off and, and it was just like whatever it took to be skinny was my thing, And I loved the gym. I loved the whirlpool. I loved the saunas. I did everything and I loved it. And I had the energy for it. Never took a vitamin. Never took a vitamin. And everything I ate was fat-free, sugar-free. Back then, we weren't talking about low carbs, you know. So, Julie, let me tell you, you know, I had the motivation because it would work. Everything would work really fast, you know. And I was just a stick with a big old blob of hair on my head, you know. And I was happy with that. Okay, we're going to be done with this egg now. Because I don't know what made me want a fried egg like this today. But I'm going to let it cool. So it was just easy. So the motivation was there. Right? And I didn't have to sacrifice a lot. Then I start getting athletic and start building muscle and doing those types of things. And things are working good. And then I start... hold on, let's go over to the table. Okay, so I got you over here on the table so we can have a little bit of tea time. So anyway, let me make sure that we're in a good place where you guys can see. So yeah, Julie, I was so happy to hear from you. So it's been hard because when I burned out my adrenals, okay, I was perimenopausal and I didn't know it. I was having all of these symptoms, not realizing that it was perimenopause. And after that, I still kept pushing myself against what Gary was telling me. You are overdoing it. I would work out for sometimes 4 hours a day just so that I could eat something that I shouldn't eat. You know what I mean? And I was obsessed. I would wear these monitors all the time where I could monitor how many calories I'm burning, how many carbs I'm burning, taking carb cutter, taking this, taking all these supplements, and never taking vitamins. Right? And it was working. But then I busted out my knees. My knees got so swollen. I had created arthritis. And it just, one thing came after the other, and then bam, perimenopause hit me so bad. And it was like, why am I not losing weight? I was just losing weight like crazy. Why all of a sudden, you know, I'm stalling. So then I'm working harder, eating less, and then the scale is still not moving. And then I go and I get depressed and I eat Wendy's and Burger King and Chinese food for a whole week, every single day, and gained 20 pounds. Like almost, no, not 20, but I gained, I think probably like 10 pounds or something. And I didn't have the help. You know, back then I didn't have the help that I needed. And I was ready to take my own life, and I couldn't deal with myself. It was the most horrible hormonal experience that I had ever went through. I mean, I was going crazy. I thought that, you know, this was it. So that's why I have that tattoo right there, because where I thought it was going to be a period, God made it a semicolon. Like we're going to go on. So, you know, it's been rough. So for me to mentally accept that all this damage has been done to my body, I have hypothyroid disease. I also have metabolic syndrome, and I also have very sensitive adrenals since I blew them out. And I also am biologically, what do you call it? Fat. I have the fatty genes because my mother and my sisters, they were all big, round women. And we were all short. So we looked like an overstuffed marshmallow with no neck. So it's like, it's been a struggle. It's been a wonderful spiritual experience. But as far as dealing with myself as a woman, you know, and then when your knees, now Tawana from Travel Lady, you know what we're talking about here. Your knees no longer function. You know, you cannot work out because of your knees. And I will not do sit and be fit. And it's like, Taibo used to work, doing salsa and merengue used to work, and doing, what is it? It was mamba or something I used to do, and nothing, everything is just screwed up. And so for all the healthy things that I was doing for my life, like air purifiers, high quality this and organic this and organic that, and then I'm into the supplements and clean products on my body, clean things in my hair, in my home, not having things that have a lot of retardants in it, because that affects the hormones. Not buying things that don't have the label on it saying that it contains harmful chemicals. Just having stuffed animals around you is harmful because of the chemicals that are in it, and just always going through all of these changes and to be so healthy, and then find out that, but you're still eating crap. You're just modifying how you're eating crap, but you're still eating crap. And it's like, buy the rug, buy the stuffed animal, don't have a whole bunch of them, but have some if that's what you want. Don't have your face too close to your cell phone because of cancer and radiation. Do these things within sense and reason, but you really need to get down to business with your food, with your weight, because what used to work is not working now. And I always took drugs. Phentermine, phentermezine, oh my God, Julie. Anything that would help me to go to sleep, help me to wake up, help me to not eat, help me to reduce my carbs. I had a pill for everything, or a shot, and spent tons of money on plastic surgery, cosmetic surgery, tummy tucks, and liposuction, breast lift. I'll never have a saggy titty the rest of my life. My boobies will never be saggy. But what difference does that make if the rest of you is a mess? What are you going to do? You might as well have boobies down to your knees. It makes no difference, And it's like, wake up call. The worst thing that ever happened to me was the best thing that ever happened to me, because it made me find my worth. It drew me extremely closer to Jesus, and it opened my eyes to so much. And so when I say the worst thing that could ever happen to me was the best thing to ever happen to me, I really do mean it. I don't want to ever go through this again, but if I had to go back and do it over, knowing what I know now, I wouldn't have went through half the stuff that I went through, but praise Jesus, So I just recently decided, I had my blood work done, and my blood work did not come back good. And I had a doctor that I went to go see, well, not went, but talked to avoid accountability with my main doctor. And he was like, well, you're almost diabetic. If you just keep doing what you're doing, I'll guarantee you'll be diabetic in 3 months, and we'll put you back on Manjaro, miracle working Manjaro, right? And I was like, you know what? I was so happy, but then I just started thinking, and Jesus started revealing things to me, and I was like, the certain things weren't right. I have got to make a change. Then I get a message from Jody talking to me about keto, and my doctor wanted me to do Mediterranean. My real doctor, he wanted me to do the Mediterranean diet. He wants me to fast 16/8, 7 days a week. And when you have hormonal problems, okay, when you have hypoglycemia and you get nauseous if you don't get a certain amount of food, a certain amount of carbs or sugars, you become slough mouth. If you're prone to anxiety and panic attacks and things of that nature, fasting 16/8 is probably not going to work for you. It worked for me at one time when I had phentermine and phentermezine and all those other things, NyQuil, sleeping 14 hours a day, so that way I get up, do what I got to do, and then bam, it's 16 hours, I can go eat. Cheating my way through everything, always looking for the easy way out, always cheating my way through things. And now for the first time in my life, it's just me and Jesus. I can't take phentermine no more. I can't take phentermezine. And for me to go back on peptides, it's going to be $4,000 for 3 months. And then it's like, I can't go back. God has broken me and brought me to a place, Julie, where I have to rely on him and myself. There's no appetite suppressants that I can take. There's no easy access to Mounjaro. And then after a while, Mounjaro stops working. There's a great deal of danger in getting a gastric sleeve. I looked into that. I was seriously going to do it, and I didn't get the okay. I didn't get the blessing from Jesus to go and get gastric sleeve. And here I am today with a journal. This is my keto journal. This is my, I made this from Happy Planner. And this is where I keep it here at the dinner table. And this is where I deal with myself. This is how I regulate myself. This is how I keep myself on track. And it is not easy, but it will be. I'm hyped up. I'm really hyped up. I haven't had any medication today. And I haven't had, I did take my hormones, but I do need to take more. I'm not done. I need to take my estrogen. So that way I can kind of mellow down, because I'm normally like a kind of a hyper person, especially if I'm talking about something that I'm really passionate about. And then my voice starts cracking and I'm drinking water or tea. Which is going to happen anyway. And that's another thing. I did some serious damage to my vocal cords. And this is the voice that I have to live with for the rest of my life. I can never get that voice that I used to have. And I wasn't even happy with that. But my voice is very scraggly. It's hoarse. It's coarse. It's deep. It cracks, and it's like, man, now I miss my old voice. Now I appreciate what I had now that it's gone. But when I had it, I did not appreciate it. It was never good enough, I used to do little modeling things and a little bit of runway modeling, but I'm short, so I wore like huge heels, right? And I could never be satisfied. I could never be satisfied. And I was always comparing my body to other models and other people. And it's like, man, would I pay my whole savings account to get that back with the mind that I have now? But so I'm so glad that you reached out to me, because I want you to know that I'm in this with you, and I want you to be encouraged, and I want you to, so that's why I kind of wanted to give you a little bit of a backstory and let you know that you are not alone in this. And I am so sorry that you have struggled with your weight all your life, because my sister did. She had the fattier genes more than I did. So she was born fat. I mean, she was born fat. Like, my mom did not eat right. When I was born, I was a normal weight, and I stayed skinny for a long time. But my sister, she was always big. You know what? But she didn't care. She just said, this is who I was born to be. This is who I am. I'm going to always be big. And she just said, I don't care. I'm going to enjoy my life. I'm going to do what I want to do. And I'm just going to do it fat. And so I get it. Struggling with that all your friggin' life is just not cool. And I had a best friend who was born big, and she stayed big, never ever lost weight, always just stayed big, and it's like, wow, it's tough. It's really, really tough. And now that I'm older, it's tougher. There are moments when I feel like I'm wasting my time by doing keto, because nothing ever worked. Being on level thyroxine, nothing ever really worked. Like everybody else who was on Mounjaro, they lost 30 pounds, 40 pounds. I only lost 18 pounds. That's it. And that was because of level thyroxine and because I didn't eat. I kept eating carbs. So, I feel weird doing keto, but I'm doing it and I'm really strict on it. My doctor gave me a certain amount of leeway, but I am like, if you tell me no more than 40 grams of starches a day and keep it low glycemic. I'm going to try and go with 20 and you know, stuff like that. So it's working, but I'm doing this stuff here, one meal at a time, one moment at a time, because I tend to forebode and I tend to look at the big picture instead of moment by moment. So if this can help you to just do one meal at a time, don't worry about dinner, just focus on breakfast. When dinner time comes, then you focus on dinner. One moment at a time, you know. And another thing that's helping me is to stop beating myself up and start picking myself up, which is something that I'm not used to. I'm 8 Mile Road all the time. Nobody has to put me down. I do it myself, you know. Healthier mindset makes healthier choices. And so I'm working on that with my mind, and I'm doing all of this with Jesus, you know. And so I'm using this Happy Planner book to log in every day. That takes discipline. And it's right here at the dinner table, to log in every single day, what I'm doing, how I'm feeling. And all of this correlates with keto, my emotions, how I'm feeling, you know, just writing everything down. Since I love to journal so much, I'm writing everything down. And so today we are on day 6. I made it 6 days on keto. I can't believe it. I can't believe it. 6 days on, I have never went 6 days on keto straight. And I know I will do good today because I'm doing everything I can to set myself up for success. Let me make sure you guys are okay. And another thing that I'm doing is this. I see Jesus blessing other women, okay? I see them blessing other women, losing weight. Amber from Amber Plans Her Day. She finally did it. She hung in there. She stuck it out. Nisha from, who has it on YouTube, Nisha. Missy is on her way. And, you know, I'm just seeing Sammy from Planners Anonymous. I see people losing weight. And I see Jesus blessing them. And I see them making it happen. Now, yeah, granted, they are younger than me. Granted, they don't have the problems that I have. But I see their joy. I see their victory. I know what that feels like. And then it's like facing the accountability, talking to my 2 doctors, my 3rd one tomorrow. And then, you know, seeing the blood work, you know, and just doing it, and Jesus just putting that thing in you to just do it. I'm not making provision for you anymore. I'm not making provision for you to go and take more drugs and for you to go do this. I did it for you before in the past. I made a way for you to get Manjaro. I made a way for you to get the peptides. I made a way for you to get phentermine and all of the things that you've done. And all of it was temporary. And Jesus showed me, yes, I gave you what you wanted. I answered your prayer, but look at where you are today. What do you have to show for all the thousands of dollars that you spent on plastic surgery, cosmetic surgery? What do you have to show for all of the thousands of dollars that you have spent on medication to regulate you, to control your mind, and to keep you from facing and dealing with it yourself? You know, I have a small amount to show for it. You know, I have a small amount, and that's not good enough. So, Jody made a comment about how I could hear her strength in a comment, in her words, where she said, you couldn't pay me. I would never go back to eating the way that I used to eat. Never. She's so happy to be on keto. And why I chose keto over the Mediterranean diet, over Golo, all of that stuff is good for you. They're good, complex carbs, right? But if you are a person who loves carbs, period, it is a trigger for you. Don't tell me I can have a 4th cup of rice or a 4th cup of beans. I love beans. In my cabinet in case of emergency, like the end of the world type stuff, I have a cabinet that is filled with non-perishable foods and drinks. So that way, if something happens, we have canned soup. And it's all my favorite. Campbell's, chunky vegetables, beef and potatoes, cans of black beans, cans of cannellini beans. And I can eat a whole can of beans in one meal. Do you know how many carbs that is in one can of beans? I don't care how low on the glycemic index it is, because it doesn't stop there with me. You know what I mean? I'm still going to have my sandwich. I'm still going to have potato chips or something else. You know, it's a healthy way, but it's not healthy for me. And keto seems to be the best way for me because I don't have to fast. I don't have to struggle through the fasting, you know, and just eating in that 8-hour period. I eat whenever the heck I want to eat. When my body is saying I need food, I don't care if it's hormonal, I don't care if it's normal hunger, I want the freedom to be able to eat. And keto allows me to do that. Now, I try to fast. I try to go as long as I can after I get up without eating. But if I go too far, I will get nauseous. And so I know my limits. But I need to be able to eat at 3 a.m. in the morning if I feel the need to eat. And keto allows me to do that because I'm eating lean protein. I can have a protein shake if I want it. I'm eating tons and tons of vegetables, green leafy vegetables, you know, leaving the starchy vegetables out like zucchini and stuff like that, you know, or just having it in like real moderation, but staying strong on things like kale, cabbage, asparagus, broccoli, and steaming it in the steamers, putting it in the air fryer, and meal prepping and putting it in these containers, and doing that. I have a ton of lean cuisine spaghetti and meatballs in the freezer. I took all of the noodles out and put the spaghetti sauce and the meatballs in a container and eat it that way with a salad, and just maybe take the pita chips and just sprinkle the crumbs of pita chips on it to give it that crunch and to help me because I know I'm going to take my pills with it, you know. And if I need to eat 3 potato chips, I can do it. It won't hurt me because I got everything situated. I got everything planned out. You know, I love tuna, and we've got a lot of tuna in there. I use a lot of sugar-free sauces, sugar-free jams, and all of that stuff. But I love tuna, and I love putting chili, that sugar-free chili sauce on my tuna, but I cannot eat tuna without crackers or toast bread. So I know if I want a tuna sandwich that I have to make provision for that sandwich, which is the keto bread, and it's just keto friendly, not keto certified. So I'm going to have 30 calories. 30 carbs for 2 slices. So I might just eat 1, you know, and I do not want tuna on my tortilla. That is nasty to me. So I know what I like. I know what I don't like, and I'm just making provisions. And am I journaling how many carbs? No, I don't need to. I don't need to do all that writing because that's not sustainable. I won't stick to it. You know, I'm going to get tired of writing. I know what I can have and what I can't have. And I know how many carbs is in the things that I have. So my advice to you is to encourage yourself. Do not beat yourself up. And listen to other people's testimonies. Not people who are all snooty. I do this and it works just fine as I'm twirling my hair. No, I'm talking about people who struggle. And what they're doing. Like Just Missy, you know, I love listening to her, strength from her, you know, and just seeing the success of other people who have struggled, you know. And if I can be a light to somebody, it makes me so happy. I didn't think many people even cared about this topic. You know, if I'm not taking some fancy drug or something, you know, nobody's really interested. So I'm so glad that you spoke up And I hope that this video will help you and motivate. I'm in this with you, and you can comment and, you know, anytime you want. If you need encouragement, you need me to tell you something, or you're not sure about something, you know, do that. And it's like, check this out. Gary wanted, my husband, he wanted a Hardee's. Now, Hardee's has like the better quality of ground beef, and they make everything made to order. So he wanted their mushroom and Swiss burger. Okay, that is a weakness because I love the bread. If you tell me I can have a mushroom and Swiss burger and I can't have it on a bun, never mind, I don't want it. And I want my crinkle cut French fries from Hardee's. Don't tell me that if I can't have it my way, then I don't want it, you know? And so to change my mindset, I ordered Gary a double mushroom and Swiss burger. Okay, so it has 2 patties on it. When it got here, I took 1 patty off, okay, and, you know, kind of drained some of that excess saturated fat out in a napkin and put it on my keto tortilla, which is only 14 grams of carbs and like 50 calories for the little mini mission ones, right? And now I get to enjoy my mushroom and Swiss burger. Put some of the mushrooms on it, you know, and now I get to enjoy it. And instead of those awesome crinkle cut fries, guess what? I'm eating asparagus on the side, or I'm eating a huge salad on the side, you know. And the asparagus that you put in the air fryer, you can just pick it up with your finger, eat it like it's a French fry, you know. Just finding those types of side dishes that can imitate my mind and trick my mind that, hey, here's your French fries. Here are your French fries, you know. And it's working. I don't know how long this is going to work, but I'm going to keep you guys updated because I need this accountability. If I don't upload talking about what I ate and this, that, and the other, I'll just get lackadaisical about it, and there's no accountability. So today is day 6, right? And I know this video may be more than 50 minutes, and I'm trying to speak fast so I don't take up too much of your time, but this is stuff that I want to share with you, you know, and I don't want to be like pressured to say it and blah, 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 blah. And then, oh, I forgot to tell Julie this, you know. I want to have a clear mind and, you know, and share this with you. So I was doing this in pencil, but I'm going to say that my mood today is good for today. It's so far, it is good. My mantra for today is make the best of the least. And let me just make sure that you can see. Okay, yeah. All right. And today I am looking forward to doing what I know is right for me and Jesus. That Jesus will be proud of, that Jesus will smile on. And let me tell you something. I've told Jesus straight up, I can't do a daggone thing unless he empowers me to do it. And I'm like, Jesus, I can't do this without you. You know, so if you don't give me the juice, my cup is just going to be dry. And I had literally given up on myself. I did. And I didn't gain as much weight as I thought that I did. I was like, yes. I was so sure that I was like 250 some pounds or something like that. And then when they weighed me, I was like, that's all I gained. I was like, I was so sure I had gained more than that because I see where the fat deposits are. Like you can see right here, see this finger? This is my finger, but see this lump right here? That didn't used to be there. All of my fingers have always been straight. And when I would gain weight, it would be underneath. It would be right underneath. See when I fold that? See how you can see the puffiness? that's the weight I gained. But this finger, man, you got the weight right there, but then you got it on top. So it's like, now it's like, okay, you're getting to a place where you're gaining weight in areas that you didn't normally gain. I used to could see the knuckle would stand out. And when I do this, you see that pocket, so it's like, okay, this is not cool. I've never had knuckles that stood out on right here. And it's like, it's always been like that. I don't know why. It's a genetic thing. I have my grandfather's hands, but it's getting to the point where it's just puffy. Like, pretty soon you're not going to be able to see any type of knuckle, So, I see those things. So I thought I had gained a ton of weight, and I didn't gain as much as I thought, but I gained enough that I had to donate some clothes because they just didn't fit anymore. It was shocking. It was absolutely shocking. So I am so glad that Jesus is helping me. For the first time in my life, it's me and Jesus alone, without man-made help. But don't get me wrong. If I can get Manjaro, I'm going to get it. I do not want Ozempic. I do not want a semaglutide. That's another long story. But I have to have tirzepatide. And the only tirzepatide that I've tried that works for me is Manjaro. Okay, so top priorities today is to stay calm. Okay, no anxiety attacks, no nothing. And to stick to the plan. Okay, and to film. And my other, not stare in the mirror. No, I was just put no gazing. When I was a young girl, I would be, if I was ever caught looking in the mirror at myself, like a normal person would do, stop gazing at yourself. What you gazing at yourself for? Always gazing in the mirror at yourself. And it put in me that it's a sin to look in the mirror at yourself, because people are going to think that you're conceited. Why are you always looking in the mirror at yourself? And so I just, no gazing, because my gazing is negative gazing, and it's like when you lose weight, don't look in the mirror at yourself too much, because God will feel like you're idolizing your shape. Don't look at it. Don't stare at it. Don't get too caught up in it. And I used to always love to look at my ribs. I loved seeing my ribs through my waist. That made me feel so good, and I loved looking at it. And so I had all these mirrors in the house, and I still have all these mirrors in the house. Because I liked to see myself. But yet I would get offended if I saw somebody else do it. I'm like, well, she must think she all that. Oh my God. So I still have the mirrors in the house, and I don't look at them like I used to, of course, older and wiser, and and I'm not seeing what I want to see anyway. But it's just like, if you squeeze and hold on to it too hard, God is going to take it away. So don't let it become an idol, And so that's how I was that's what I dealt with. And I had always had long hair. I had my mother's hair, right? And when you have it and it's relaxed for an African-American person, and you put a coat on or you put on something, you need to pull your hair out. Because if you don't, it's tucked under the coat, it's uncomfortable. So I was always try not to flick my hair or pull, if I pull my hair out of my coat, be careful how you do it, because other Black women are going to think that you think you're all that. I had a girl come up to me and take a pair of scissors, Julie, and cut a piece of my hair off, because she was that jealous. And my heart goes out to her, because after I got older, I was like, the pain she must have felt having to see me every day, So it's like, I had a girl tell me once in a church, you're always flicking your hair. And I was like, you know what I told her? I said, I try not to do that because I know it offends other black women whose hair wasn't as long as mine. And, you know, and I told her, I said, come on, you know me. I'm not stuck up. I'm not like, you know, flicking my hair. But it's not like that. It was stuck in my coat, my jacket. You know, I have had people just in the church just come and just take their hand and just run their hand down my hair. I had a pastor do it. It was just, back then, it was just a big thing to see a black woman with a good set of hair, or whatever you want to call it. And I don't know, you know, it's just how it was back then. And I don't know. And they would say, what are you mixed with? You know, you got to be mixed with something, because a regular black person don't have hair like that. Oh, God, I could tell you the craziest stories. So anyway, so that is why I'm putting no gazing, because my gazing now is totally negative. Look at what you've become. Look at you. Look at what you've become. You know, you did not age gracefully. Look at you. You blah, blah, blah. So my priority is no gazing, you know. And so so the evening time is not here yet, but by the time you guys get this video, it will be. So this evening, I will do the same thing. I'll put down, how is my mood this evening? How am I feeling? People that I appreciate. And what am I grateful for tonight, and my thoughts. So, you know, this is helping me because I want to know how I'm going to be feeling tonight. And it's going to be, all of this is based on keto. All of this is based on my relationship with Jesus in regards to the category of food. Okay? All of this, it may not, you know, people I appreciate. These are going to be people that have struggled with weight loss. These are going to be people that have had success. These are going to be people who have not had success that I appreciate, you know. And tonight I'm going to talk about what I'm grateful for, that I did not fail the plan, that I stuck with the keto plan. What am I grateful for? You know, what are my overall thoughts about the way that I'm eating and the way that I'm living, and how I am making this a lifestyle. This is definitely not a diet. This is a lifestyle that I'm going to do until I'm taken out of here. You know, and I know when the summer months get here and it's going to be really hot and my nausea is going to be up, I have to have a plan for how I'm going to live my life when I'm going to need something to help with the nausea. So far, it's going to be popcorn powder rather than chips and things of that nature. And it's happening, y'all. Last night, I dreamt that I was eating sweet potato pie. And where the heck did that come from? I was eating around the crust area of sweet potato pie. I love crust. I love pastries, right? So if I get a slice of sweet potato pie and it don't have thick crust on it, I don't want it. When I used to bake sweet potato pie, my sweet potato pie had a crust over top and on the bottom. You know, and it was always thick, buttery. People used to ask me, oh, can you please bake me a pie? You know, love to make caramel apple pie. Everything thick crusted, everything. You know, if it don't have thick crust on it, I don't want it, you know. So last night I dreamt that I was eating my sweet potato pie, and it was just eating along the crust area of sweet potato pie. And then I got up, y'all, listen to this. I got up and I thought to myself, what am I going to do when time comes when I want pie or cake or pastry? So hear me out. I have a plan. Don't ask me the details, but if the Dome of the Rock is destroyed in Israel, I'm going to bake me a 7-Up pound cake. And I'm going to pray. I'm going to pray for Israel, pray for the United States, and pray for the world. Absolutely. But if the Dome of the Rock is destroyed, you know, that globe, that golden dome, if it is destroyed, I'm going to bake me a 7-Up pound cake, and I'm going to eat it. Okay? So, and I have all the ingredients. Everything is there for this event, if this event takes place. No backstory. That's just what I'm just telling you. That's what I'm doing. For my birthday, I will allow myself to have a slice of cake or a slice of pie, not the whole thing, or a pastry, for that one day, for that one meal. If it is Christmas, there's no cake. If it is New Year's, Easter's, there is no cake. If it's Gary's birthday, it's no cake. It's only once a year, and that is my birthday. No cake on my anniversary. I can have a wonderful Red Lobster meal to celebrate my birthday. To celebrate my wedding anniversary. I can have, all of those things. Now, Christmas dinner and Thanksgiving dinner. Okay? Those 2 days, those 2 meals are going to be a problem. And those are the days that I am allowing myself, Christmas and Thanksgiving, to have a turkey dinner or a ham dinner where I'm going to have mashed potatoes and I'm going to have dressing, right? But no bread, potatoes and stuffing, and a small portion of that, because I'm not about depriving, so that way, if I decide to go to somebody's house for a Thanksgiving dinner, which I doubt, I'm always make my own food, I will be okay, because I know I'm going to have me some, my two starches. So it's going to either be mashed potatoes and macaroni, or it's going to be, but 2 starches, that's it. And if they got macaroni, mac and cheese, and they got mashed potatoes, and they got stuffing, it's going to be hard. It's going to be hard, because I'm allowing myself 2 nice spoonfuls of each. So I might have to go with a half a spoonful of mac and cheese, a half a spoonful of potatoes, a half a spoonful of dressing. I got to make it work. And, and I got to be careful, because once you get that taste in your mouth, it'll be the day after Christmas, and you're like, oh man, I want leftovers, or oh man, I miss the buttery taste of those mashed potatoes. So it's either I stay home and I don't fix it that way, and I have control over my Thanksgiving and Christmas dinner, or either I, have a small amount of it where it's just enough for me and Gary and there's no leftovers. And then I gotta be prepared. Like, if you take a bite of that, are you gonna be able to bounce back off of it? So it's a lot of mind work, a lot of prayer, and a lot of that kind of stuff, but it has to be done. It has to be done, because I am not going to take my last breath moving backwards or moving in the wrong direction. When I take my last breath, I want to be moving in the right direction. If I'm crawling, if I'm running, I just need to be moving in the right direction, but I just don't know if this is going to work. Am I going to really lose weight? Is my blood work levels going to improve literally just by not eating starches? Are you serious? Are you kidding me? Is it really going to work? I'm so used to being disappointed that it's like when I go to weigh in the end of this month, I'm not expecting to see a weight loss. I'm telling you, I'm just not. I want Jesus to surprise me, because I just don't want to go in there thinking, yeah, I did this right, I did that right, and then I still didn't lose any weight. I'm going to be really devastated, because I put so much into it. And then I'm going to be like, it's the levothyroxine that's preventing me from losing the weight. But there are people who have lost weight while taking levothyroxine, and I want to be one of them, without, the aid of other things. So it's like my calories are reduced. There's no carbs. There's no starches. When I go walking at night, and it's just a walk, up a hill, down a hill, up a hill, down a hill, but there's no pushing. I won't have carbs that my body will burn. It'll just immediately tap into the fat, after 30 minutes. I don't do time. I just do my 3 reps. I do 3 reps Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. Monday and Friday, and I do 2 reps on Tuesday and Thursday. But I can't go for a long time because of my knees. So I got to make it as good as I can without disturbing my metabolic system. And then my fingers start to swell up and my face starts to swell up because I'm overdoing it. I have to do mild to moderate exercise for someone who's menopausal or who has thyroid problems, because if I overdo it, I burn out my adrenals again, I disrupt my metabolic system, and I can't do it, and my hormones go haywire. So I have to have a careful workout, you know, and my body will be more, you know, sufficient. It'll do things more sufficiently. What used to work doesn't work anymore. So walking every day, up a hill, a slant, you know, up a slant, down a slant, and I do it 3 times, Monday and Friday, and then I extend it a little bit, you know, like for 1 month, you know, like as the months go by, you know, I just extend it a little bit, and I only do it on Monday and Friday, you know, because of my knees. And, you know, like there's an extra hill that's up there, you know, and I just extend it a little bit, and I just keep gradually doing it. And it's only on Monday and Friday. And then Wednesday, I don't work out at all because I have to give my knees a rest. You know, unfortunately, my insurance won't let me get my knee replacement that I need to get. So I just have to, I have to be in a worse shape than I am, but I'm getting worse. So maybe sooner or later they'll appreciate it and they'll go ahead and let me, you know, and go ahead and pay for my surgery. But if not, this is how I have to live my life. Okay, so I know I've talked too much, but I just needed to say everything that I wanted to share with you, Julie. Please stay in contact with me. Please, let's do this together. Tawana, Travel Lady, anybody that is on this journey that wants to talk to me about it. Cherie, if you want to get on this journey, you know, as close as we are, honey, I'm there for you 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. You know. So anybody, if I can help you like others have helped me, then the blessing is definitely worth it. I mean, the struggle is definitely worth it. All right, guys, I'm gone. I will see y'all in the next video. It's time for me to go eat.